Bienvenidos and welcome to another episode of Spain on a Fork. So it is finally Friday and today we've got a great recipe to kick off the weekend. We're making a creamy paprika and garlic rice. And let me tell you, there's a ton of different rice recipes out there. But when it comes to simplicity and flavor, this one right here truly stands out above the rest, as it's packed with an insane amount of flavors and it's absolutely so easy to make. Folks, this is another recipe where there's no tricky techniques and no special equipment needed, just honest clean cooking that's packed with a ton of goodness. Really quick before we start, shout out to a couple of my patrons, Barbara Eastman, Karen Bird, Jim Schallert, and Sean Murphy. Again, guys, thank you so much for being patrons of Spain on a Fork. You know how much I appreciate you. All right, let's begin by adding in 4 cups of vegetable broth into a saucepan, which is about 950 milliliters. Of course, to make this rice dish, you can also use water, but by using the broth, it gives it a beautiful lift of flavors. You'll find a link on how to make my homemade vegetable broth in the iCard above and description box below. And we'll heat it with a medium-high heat. At the same time, I'm going to heat a large fry pan with a medium heat and add in a generous 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, which is about 35 milliliters. While the olive oil is heating, I'm going to finely dice 1 small onion and thinly slice 6 cloves of garlic. Then we'll add in the garlic and onion into the pan and we'll mix the ingredients around, that way they're coated in that olive oil. And as always, make sure to mix this continuously, that way the garlic and onion don't brown too quickly and everything evenly sautés. After about 3 to 4 minutes, and the onion is nice and translucent, and the garlic is lightly sauteed, I'm going to add in 2 teaspoons of sweet smoked Spanish paprika, which is about 5 grams. And we'll give it a quick mix, that way the paprika is evenly coating the garlic and onion. And let me tell you, the paprika in this recipe is one of the most important ingredients, so make sure to use the good stuff. You'll find a link where you can get the Spanish one I'm using from Kiva in the description box below, and if you buy it from that link, you'll also get 25% off your order. Then we'll add in half a cup of tomato sauce, which is 115 grams. And we'll season everything with sea salt and freshly cracked black pepper. And we'll give it a quick mix until everything's well mixed together, and then simmer it for a couple minutes without mixing the mixture. As always, the tomato sauce that I'm using, I made by finely grating fresh tomatoes, but you can always use canned tomato sauce, passata, or even Spanish tomate frito. Once the tomato sauce has slightly thickened, it's been about 3 minutes, it's time to add in the rice. I'm going to measure out 1 cup of Spanish round rice from Valencia, which is about 200 grams, and add it into the pan. If you can't find this rice in your area, you can substitute it for any short or medium grain rice, or even arborio rice, which is the one that's used to make risotto. And we're going to lightly cook the rice, just between 1 to 2 minutes, while mixing it continuously. After cooking the rice for about 2 minutes, I'm going to grab the simmering hot broth and add it into the fry pan. And we're going to cook the rice for about 15 minutes on a medium heat. And let me tell you, you don't have to mix this continuously, but do make sure to get in there every 1 to 2 minutes, as every time you mix that rice, it starts releasing a starch, which is one of the elements that gives this dish that beautiful creamy texture. About 15 minutes after adding the broth into the pan, you can see the majority of it has been absorbed by the rice, but there's still plenty of broth left. I'm going to place a lid on the pan, and we'll remove it from the heat and let it sit here between 4 to 5 minutes. You know, by trapping that steam in there, it's what's going to ensure that each grain of rice is perfectly cooked through. In the meantime, let's get the final ingredient ready. I'm going to finely grate half a cup of cheese, which is about 60 grams. For this recipe, I'm using a Spanish Manchego cheese that's been aged for 6 months. However, you can use whatever cheese you like, but let me tell you, go on a hunt down for this cheese, as it gives this rice an incredible lift of flavors. After about 5 minutes, I'm going to uncover the rice, add in the grated cheese, And we'll give it one final mix. That way that cheese is well incorporated into the dish. And let me tell you, you want to add in the grated cheese all the way at the end. If you add it in there beforehand, you risk the chance of the fat starting to separate from the cheese and you're going to lose that beautiful creamy texture. And also let me tell you at this point, make sure to give it a taste test. That way your seasonings are right on the money. Then we'll transfer some of the rice into a serving dish. And we'll garnish it with some fresh parsley. Check it out, our creamy paprika and garlic rice is done. This is known in Spain as Arroz Meloso con ajo y pimentón. Beautiful presentation, easy to make, and the best part, all done in just 30 minutes. Let's give it a try and see how it turned out. Now it's time for the moment of truth. Let's see how this rice dish turned out. Here we go. First things first, each grain of rice is perfectly cooked through. So important to not overcook that rice, otherwise it gets a mushy texture. And as for the flavors, you have that paprika with all the garlic and then that creamy texture to take things to the next level. And once again, so important when you're cooking that rice, mix it every 1 to 2 minutes. That way that starch gets released and gives you that beautiful creamy goodness. Folks, give this a try at home. Serve it next to a couple fried eggs or a piece of grilled fish, and I promise it's gonna make it to your weekly rotation because it is that good. If you enjoyed today's video, hit that like button as it really helps out the channel. Leave me a comment below. And as always, don't forget to share this video with your family and friends. That way our Spain on a 4 community can continue to grow. Till the next time, hasta luego.